This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, apparently it's very quickly telling you twice this meeting's being recorded. So anyway, welcome to another fun episode of Photoshop Party. We're gonna have a good time today. Again, if you have questions, feel free to ask them. I don't always check the chat. Well, that's hard to say, check the chat. And love to answer any questions you might have. I may not be able to, but we'll find out if we can or not. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen real quick and get rid of that one. And hopefully you can see the important part of the screen. You see Photoshop up there right now?
Yep.
Okay. And you see the important stuff up there saying West Coast School, June 4th through the 9th, 2003, University of San Diego. I still have a couple of slots in my class. If you want to join us, a week of Photoshop from 0 to 60. Depending on the class, we may go 65 or 70. Can't go too much faster in California because you get in trouble. So up here in Idaho, we can do 80 without a problem. So if you're interested, come join us. Contact Mel, 1-800-439 extension or 5839 extension 3 for West Coast School. And getting the spinning wheel of death already. We haven't even started yet. And okay, it did it. It shut me down. Let's try it again. That's a fast way to do Photoshop Party. Has anybody played with the beta version of Photoshop yet since
Yes,
I showed it last week?
yes, it's fun.
A lot of cool things in there. And they've
Yeah.
done some updates to it. So the stuff I showed last week that we couldn't do, you can now do again. So
So that AI removal is on again?
AI removal is working. Let's see if this is the right one. There we go. And then there was one of the filters wouldn't work in Neural Filters, but it's up and running. I checked it earlier this week and it is running.
Cool.
And if you don't want to take my class, you don't have to. We have a few other instructors out there: Sandra Pierce, Shannon Squires, Tim Meyer, Joe Glida. Woody and Chris are not going to be there this year. Doug and Laura, Photoshop, and Tony Corbell. You got some fantastic speakers this year. So take advantage of it. If you haven't signed up already, call Mel now at 1-800-439-5839 or call westcoastschool.com online. So enough of that. Let's go ahead and dig into textures real quick and go to May of 2023. And here is something I was playing with earlier today. This is the original. And that is the final product, which all it was is just playing with textures. So let's go ahead and do that and open him up, see if I can replicate it. And click open, 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 open. And it's now officially open in Photoshop, I think. Cool, it worked. Okay, this is okay with the background. I mean, yeah, no big deal. But when you add textures to in front of it, behind it, and all around it, it gets really cool. So let's go ahead and go to the wonderful object selection tool. And I'm going to go to select subject. And just a reminder, with select subject, you have on device and you have cloud. Device is super quick, but you don't get really good results that way. If you do your select subject in the cloud, you get a much better result, but it does take a little bit longer. And I've set my default to doing the cloud. So if everything works right, I now have a selection. And I'm going to go to select and mask. Up at the top, right next to select subject, click on select and mask. And the only thing I'm going to do to this thing, because it looks like a pretty good selection, is click on refine hair. And the reason I'm doing that is the back of his neck has some feathers sticking out. So we'll get that, get rid of Nick filters. I don't need them. And I'm going to output to a new layer with a layer mask. And that's just that quick and easy to do the selection. And it looks like I got a little bit of fringe on there. I'm not worried about it for now. I could go in and clean it up a little bit, take the time, but why bother? So first thing I want to do is add a texture to the background just for fun. So I'll go back over to Bridge and find my textures. And I think I'm going to go with this one underneath it. So we'll just right click, go to place in Photoshop, and it's going to put it above the background layer. And when I placed, it didn't make it full size. So I'll just Command or Control T to free transform, hold the Option key. And when I drag it with the Option key, it's going to drag it in all 4 directions. Click OK. And now I have a background behind him. So now we're starting to see something, a little change. I might even blur it just a little bit. So I'll go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And let's go just under 3 pixels, just for fun. Go to the top layer again. And I want to add a texture in front of him. So let's add this texture, right click, and we'll go to place in Photoshop. And do the same thing on this time. I'm going to hold the Shift key down. I'm not worried about keeping it constrained. If I stretch this out a little bit one way or the other, it's not going to hurt it because you're not going to even know that it was done. And that's a perfect texture to cover the bird with, except you can't see the bird now. So what I'm going to do.
Can I ask you a question, Mike?
Yes, ma'am.
Is what you just did the same as place embedded, or what does place embedded mean? Like, is that the correct way to do it, how you just did it, or is it just a different way of doing it?
It's probably just a different way of doing it. I don't do place embedded.
Okay.
I don't know what the difference is.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you do place embedded?
I do, but I didn't know any other way to do it. So now
Okay.
I'm watching yours. Seems just as easy, but it seems like it does the same thing. I think.
It may be the same thing.
I'm asking you because you know way more about Photoshop than I do. So.
But I don't know everything. Unfortunately. Well, fortunately. I'm going to change the blending mode on this and just kind of go through these. That's multiply. Lighten. Doesn't work good.
Sure.
Overlay's okay. Soft light's okay. I'm going to go with overlay, I think. And then I'm going to add another texture on top of it just for fun. Back to Bridge again. And let's find another texture to go up there. I'm going to try this one just for fun. So right click, place in Photoshop. Bridge is busy. I don't care if you're busy. I want you to do my work for me. And again, we need to change the blending mode. And I'm going to go with hard light, and I might even change the opacity a little bit so it's not so bright. And I'm going to open this guy up. I need to see what, yeah, I did those the same. Okay. Just wanted to check.
Hey, Mike, does that always create on one of those layers has the mask, the background, it creates its own layer mask.
No, when I did the select object
Mm-hmm.
or select subject, and I went into selected mask. Let me go ahead and do that again real quick. Okay, one of the tricks, let's bring up that guy as well. One of the tricks for showing just one layer is hold the Option or Alt key, click on the eye, and it takes you to that layer only. And then
Oh,
to turn on the other ones, we'll turn them all on again. But here we go. That's the only layer selected. We'll go to selected mask. So we'll go select subject. I said select subject. There we go. And then anytime you have any of the selection tools, you can go up to selected mask, or you can go up to select, down to selected mask. And I clicked refine hair. So we'll do that real quick. And then at the bottom of your panel on the right hand side, you have your choice of how you want to do your selection. I could do a layer mask. I could do new layer with mask, new document, or new document with layer mask. My go-to 99% of the time is new layer with layer mask. And then click OK. And you can see it brought it up with the layer and the layer mask. Does that answer your question? How we got there?
yes.
Okay. Coolness. So that's how easy it is to do that guy right there. I did it a little bit differently somehow here, but I don't know. Okay. The top layer is at 50%. This layer's at 80%. 100% on that layer. Oh, I put a different texture down here below, a different background on there, just to bring it up differently. Every time I do something, unless I do it by the numbers, which 99% of the time I don't do by the numbers, it comes out differently. But that's part of Photoshop, is just you kind of play with it and hope for the best, unless you do it by the numbers. We'll cancel that and let's put this guy up here. We'll change him to multiply just for fun. And we'll put that other background. I don't know if I kept that background or not. I did not. And what I have on my computer is go to my backup hard drive, go to photos. Down at the bottom of photos, I have stock photos. And under stock photos, I have what I call texture files. And I've got a bazillion textures in here. One of them is backgrounds. So I put, this is one that I put up there. So I'll place it in Photoshop. And we'll rotate that guy around, Command T, and we'll just rotate him 90 degrees or so, and then drag him out.
Kind of like it was.
Drag that down a little bit more. And this one will change to 80%. And if you want to change your opacity of your layers quickly, if you're in like the move tool or anything but the brush tool, if I hit 8, it takes it to 80%. So I don't have to go up here and do the slider, hope for the best. I just type in what I want. And it makes it super easy for me. We'll take that one down, say 50%. I'm going to take that one down to about 40% just to make it lighter. And so you can keep playing with these, changing the settings, doing what you want, and hope that you get the results you want, or go go for plan B and start all over again.
With all these textures, it doesn't corrupt any of the bird's feathers or anything like that. It's just a layer in the back. And
It tends to soften the feathers a little bit. I mean, that's the original right there. And with all the textures on top, it does, if you put the textures on top, there is going to be some corruption, as you called it. You're going to distort it a little bit because you're adding textures to the top of it.
okay,
And then we'll crop him 8x10. Oh, he's too centered. We got to fix that. Rule of thirds. Otherwise, judges are going to say, oh, no, no, no. Right, Dennis? And then I would obviously
Sure.
want to,
Sure.
obviously I want to go in and enhance the eye a little bit and make it better, but this is a texture class, not an eye class. So any questions on that? Going once, going twice, gone. And we'll go back up to May and go to, let's do this. Go back to Photoshop, Command N for new. We're going to do 10x8. I'm going to have a black background and it's at 300. We'll click create. Let's add some text to it. And all we need to say is Michael. And that's how you spell Michael. And I was giving Mel a hard time about that earlier today. So here's where we can add some textures to this as well. So we'll go into the same thing we did earlier. Go into our textures. Where did I put it? Oh, by the way, this is a bathroom wall in Nashville, Tennessee. So you go out and you find your textures that you like. Right click, place in Photoshop. And that didn't do anything. Just to show you, I'm going to do this wrong just to show you. If I put it underneath, I have my lettering above, but it doesn't do any good because of what I want to do. So let's drag the lettering back underneath there again. I'm going to change this by holding the Option or Alt key and clicking on the line between the two layers, which is creating a clipping mask. If you don't want to do it that way, you can right click to the right of it and create clipping mask, or you can go down to the drop down up here, click on that, and somewhere create clipping mask is on there. There it is down at the bottom down there. And I think you can also do it from up here on layers, create clipping mask, or Shift Control G. I just like hitting the Option in between. So now you have this text with texture in the middle of it. And you can always go to your place and your blending options by double clicking on the right. I'm going to do it on Michael, or you go to effects, and there's probably 3 different ways to do that as well. So double click here, add a bevel and emboss, and a bevel and emboss. I'm going to do inner bevel, which is okay. You just look to see which ones you like. Outer bevel does nothing at all. You got pillow emboss, which adds it up. And if we bring the depth up a little bit, bring the size up a little bit, it makes it stand out just a little bit more. You can do an outer glow, which doesn't, it does a little bit, but not much. But you can just go in and play with all of these, click OK. And if we wanted to, make a new layer and we'll fill it with white. And then you can see how it affected everything on there with the effects we did. You can see a lot better than So if I turn off the outer glow, you don't see very much. You see the bevel. And you can double click on your bevel and emboss and go in and refix it again. Instead of pillow, we'll go to inner bevel, nothing, outer bevel. Does a little, wow, that's weird. It definitely looks a whole lot different when you're doing it on white than when it's on black. Because you have that on white, and on black it looks like nothing. So let's go ahead and add a new layer. And just for fun, we'll go here, click on the color, your background color, and for brightness, we'll do 50%, which will turn it to gray. And then we'll fill it with gray. And you see it looks a whole lot different on there on gray than it does on white, than it does on black. So sometimes you got to pick and choose which way you want to go with this, depending on the color that you're using. So here you can see a little bit of a bevel around the C right here. On gray, on white, it doesn't show up very much, but on black, it shows up a little bit. Gray shows up and makes it even gooder. So. But the trick to this one is doing the clipping mask above. So let's say I changed my mind and didn't want that, but I wanted something else up there. So we'll go up here, pick this straight out of camera. And instead of placing, I just double click to open it, which I shouldn't have. Click on V for move, or Command A to select all, Command C to copy. We'll close it. We'll do Command V to paste. Move it up there, add a clipping mask to it. And now you have your flower. And if you want to make it bigger in there, so it's all flower in the word. There we go. Click OK. I see the different colors really jump. The colors really pop with the black. Okay with the white, and a little better with the gray. But it's just that easy. Any questions on that one? No, you guys are quiet today. What's up with that?
How did you do that clipping mask, Michael?
Okay, let me do that one more time. Back. Command new or Command N to get a new one. Let's go with create 8x10. Type the word. Let's type T for text. And we'll do Rust. And it's in white. It doesn't matter what color we use right here because we're going to fill it in. So what I'm going to do is go back to bridge, get my Rust color. And anytime I go out, I'm going to shoot textures just for fun. This is off the side of a bridge, I think. Go to Photoshop. And then again, to do a clipping mask, I'm going to hold the Alt or Option key and click between the two layers, between texture layer and Rust layer.
Okay.
And once it's in there, you can take your move tool and move it around.
Oh, thank you.
And if I want, I can make the text.
Quick
ahead.
question.
Uh-huh.
Are you getting that font just from what's in Photoshop, or have you like added in something that has a bunch of different fonts?
That font was in Photoshop.
Okay.
The T for that one's called Phosphate. That particular font is called Phosphate.
Okay, perfect. But you can also, like I said, I guess you could buy some Photoshop fonts where they give you additional. Is that
Yeah,
also something you can do?
if you want to add fonts, what you do is you go to your font menu up at the top, and
Mhm.
then more from Adobe Fonts on the upper right-hand corner right here.
Yeah.
Just click on that. And depending on the kind of font you want, you have to be signed in into the cloud, and you can pick all the
Oh,
different
okay,
fonts
cool.
that you want. And there are a few fonts out there. Another
Got
way to go back here one more time. Another way to go for free fonts for non-commercial use. This is a place called dafont.com,
Mhm.
and you can come up with all kinds of bizarre fonts in here.
Oh, cool.
They're free for non-commercial use. You can donate to the author and contact the author for use to use them commercially if you like. So I love this because there's so many fonts in there, and I know that this is one of the sites that there's not a lot of garbage coming out of it. Trying to think of the viruses. There's some font places where they put viruses in there. This is not one of them, so I like it.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And what did I just do here? Wow. Whatever I did was weird. What I can also do is go Command T with my letters right there and make it bigger. It makes my font bigger. So we can do that as well. And you can see in the upper, on the toolbar at the top, it's now at 284.14 point. And again, if I want to move the texture around, hit the move tool, which is V, and move my texture around. Questions on that one? I like having questions. It does help. And you've all seen this guy before. So let's go ahead and select subject. We'll hit W, and I'll just draw a circle around him really quick to select him. Then I'm going to select and mask again really quick, and I'm going to hit refine hair. It does amazing how fast it works for me, so I don't have to do a whole lot. So let's take this up so you can see. Z for zoom. That's what the refined hair did, from basically nothing to fixing it really good. That's how it came in. And then when I hit refine hair, it made it work. So now my refined hair is missing. There it is. Open, 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 open. And again, I'm going to click on new layer with layer mask, click OK. And I'm going to go to the layer below him. And we're just going to throw a quick background stock layer on them again. So go to stock, T for textures, go to backgrounds. That's probably too dark. Let's go with this one just for fun. Right click, place in Photoshop, just that easy. Beta's too busy to work with it. There we go. And then I'm going to hit Command T to transform, rotate it around, hold my Option or Alt key to stretch it all 4 directions really quick. Boom. And what I'm going to do is take my layer mask there, hold the Option or Alt key and drag it down, and it adds a layer mask onto here. I need to invert it, so I'll do Command I to invert the mask. You can see the mess that it made there. I'm not worried about that for right now. B for brush, and I'm going to paint with black, so hit X to exchange my colors from white to black, and it's not doing what I wanted it to. Oh, I know why. Because I need to turn on the other background. Let's try that again. There we go. And I'm going to change my opacity from 50% to 25. So all I have to do is hit 25 because it's in the brush tool. My opacity changes right away. Big old brush just to make it nice and soft. Kind of bury his feet in there a little bit. And paint that back by hitting the X key. And that's how fast you can drop one in like that. And if we go to zoom in between his legs, I didn't get the selection there. I screwed that one up big time. So what I'll have to do is go to B for brush, get a really small brush and go in and paint that out. And if you don't remember which color to use, black or white, to paint it out, if one doesn't work, you hit the other one and go up to this guy. I'm gonna have to go to 100% to bring it back. And sometimes it just jumps out at you going, hey, look what you did, stupid. Not that I call myself stupid all the time, but I mean, that's how fast you can pop him in, and you go, well, wait a minute, Mike, there's no shadow underneath his feet to plant him. So I'm going to put a layer below him. So I'm going to hit Command or Control new layer, and that puts it below. Or if you can't remember that one, just new layer, drag it down below, either one. And we're going to go for B for brush, D for default, and go to about 20%, which is just hitting the 2 key. And this is going super fast. I mean, it's not like it's really going to work that way. Probably go to 10% just to add a little bit underneath. And it paints underneath him, so you don't have to worry about painting his paw. It's doing all the work for you. So that's how fast you can do a quick composite and drop him in. If you look at the hair, it ain't too bad. There's a little bit of a mess up here that we'd have to clean up, and along the lines along here, but that's super easy to fix really quick if you're pixel peeping. If you're not pixel peeping, you don't see the mess up there. Questions on that one? Going once, going twice, gone. Okay. I have textures from people that have sent me textures. Let's go to my texture file over here. So I have textures that I haven't filed yet into anything. I have my backgrounds. Brooke Shaden had some textures that she was giving away and selling. Got a Christmas background that I did when I photographed Santa Claus a couple years ago, and I put it under Christmas so I could find it. Photographed a cork, so I'd have a cork background if I needed it. Framed edges. You got different frames you can do in there. But I've got it all organized in there. Robin Swanson sent me a bunch. Karen Nakamura sent me some. Anytime I go out and I see something really cool, I'll shoot it just for fun. Bathroom at Embassy Suites. Bathroom at Hilton Garden Inn. I don't even know what that is. I think it was frozen ice on my windshield. But I shoot things just cause, in case I need them someday down the road. I mean, there's weird things and I don't know why I shot it, but I shot it. And I've always got them in there. When we were in New Orleans, I went to a cemetery and we photographed at the cemetery, textures, along with other stuff. Just going in and playing. Brick wall if I ever need it. I mean, there's just all kinds of cool stuff. I don't know if I'll ever use it, but it's there if I do. Burlap, paper. I mean, it's just, I got all kinds of papers in here. Just downloading them as I go. So when you go out and play, just have fun. When you see stuff, just enjoy it, shoot it and have fun with it. Any questions? Going once, going twice. Okay, I'll turn off the recording so you guys can ask your questions.